Hi there, back out on another wild camp, although this one is not too wild. Due to COVID restrictions, we're not allowed out camping, but I shall be camping in the garden. So I'll be in my tent, I'm using my gear, I'm going to do some cooking. It's still going to be a great camp. Now, behind me is my local pub, the Robin Hood at Millhouses. I told you Robin Hood come from these parts, didn't I? Here's proof of the pudding. Anyway, same as all the other pubs, they're all shut. And normally it's nice to start a wild camp off from a pub, which I am doing, but no beer because the pub is shut. As is every other one in the UK, apart from one. I know a secret little pub, goes by the name of a pub with no name, that is open 7 days a week. Sorry to say, we won't be visiting it today. Now, we're also allowed out for exercise every day. So I thought I'd go for a walk through my local park, which is Millhouses Park, tell you a little bit about it and show you around, and then we'll make our way back to the garden and get the tent pitched. The weather is definitely January. It's dull, it's going to rain, I can feel a bit of drizzle in the air now, but it's still going to be a good camp, I'm sure it is. So I'll see you in Millhouses Park. Just entered Millhouses Park now. Now this park is probably about 3/4 of a mile long, and all alongside the left hand side runs the River Sheaf. Now I should have been camping today 2 miles upstream. I had planned to camp at Hounkirk, but obviously things change. But we'll follow this river as we walk through the park. It runs the entire length of the park. And if you think the River Sheaf is where Sheffield got its name, it was a field next to the River Sheaf, Sheaf Field. But we'll make our way up through the park now. It was in 1907 that I think it was 7th Earl of Fitzwilliam gave this land to the Sheffield City Council to build a park. It did take a while, but by the 1930s Millhouses Park had been established, and it had got everything. It had got tennis courts, cricket ground, bowling green, there was a boating lake, all the facilities you could need. And one thing that set it apart from many other parks is that it had an outside Lido. I remember coming in the 1960s, the river was diverted and that provided swimming pools, paddling pools. And in its heyday you could get 50,000 visitors here, but probably due to pollution and health and safety they couldn't have the water coming into the Lido and back into the river. So I think around the 1970s it was closed, and there's no real signs of the Lido here now. But it was a great place to come when you were a kid in the 1960s. We're at the far end of the park now. These are the bowling greens. In summer, a lot of older people will be found playing bowls here. Thinking on, I am starting to get a little bit older. Perhaps it is a new hobby I ought to be looking at. You never know. Well, that's probably my morning's exercise over, so I'm going to make my way home now, and we'll get the tent pitched. It looks like it's going to rain, so I can't think of a better place to be than inside a tent. I'll see you in the garden. So, just arrived back at the garden and it's starting to rain. Anyway, soon get the tent pitched. I'm going to be using me 40-year-old field and trek trail maker. Ideal for the garden, and it's got that big porch to do some cooking in. So before it rains too much, I'm going to get my tent pitched. I've got a nice spot up here, and I'll come back to you when we're ready to put all the gear in. Well, that's my Trailmaker pitch now. You can see it's got the classic 1970s, 80s sloping ridge design with two really strong A-poles here. It was built for 4-season use, and you can see it'll easily shed snow like anything. It is, to me, it's fantastic design. Got this massive porch, which you'll see in a bit, and that's where we'll be cooking. Anyway, the weather's turned even wetter now, so I'm going to get all my gear in the tent. We haven't probably got too much daylight left, and once I've got settled in, I'll see you in the tent, and we can make a start with cooking all this lovely food I brought with me. We settled in the tent. I know it's only a garden camp, but it could be Kinder Scout. I have got 100% Kinder Scout weather out there. It's driving, drizzle and rain, thick fog, getting a little bit breezy. Can't believe it. I sort of picked these days weeks before, and we've had all the cold clear weather, and I've probably got one of the wettest nights. Anyway, no problem. I ain't going anywhere tonight. I'm stopping in here. So I'm just going to have a quick cup of coffee, as it's first drink I've had for a while. Yeah, that's hot. Bit of milk. Got a bit of sugar in, so quick and easy drink. But that weather is atrocious. No, that's better. Shall I put that? Right, one advantage of camping in the garden, you can bring loads of food with you. So, I'll try and show you what I've brought. So, that is smoked haddock and salmon chowder. A nice soup to start with. So that'll go into... I brought 2 pots. I've got a big aluminium pot over there. I'll probably cook it in there. I say cook it, it only needs warming up. But I find with titanium, you can easily burn on. So I might use my big aluminium pot. It'll mean washing it then. for main meal. Well, we've got stew there, that's come out our freezer. I stuck a few more carrots in last night to just bump it up a bit. But what I'm gonna make with that, we're gonna have stew and dumplings. So I've got a nice big pot to put it all in. That is self-raising flour and a tora and a bit of salt. So I should mix that with a bit of water, and that'll give me my dumplings, and we'll boil it in the stew again in the aluminium pot. Just got to put it on a slow simmer for probably about 15 minutes. So that's my starter and main course, and then again, quite simple this, I've tried them before, treacle sponge and custard. You can't beat that. So that will be the food for the night. For drinks, well, we'll look at these later. There's a bottle of Timothy Taylor's there. Oh, I don't know how that got in. It must have been left in my rucksack. Got my Glencairn whisky glass, so that'll give you a clue what we'll be having later. I'm just making a start with the soup. This is the haddock and salmon chowder. It smells lovely. Now I know I said I was going to cook or warm up the soup in the big aluminium pot because I didn't want it to burn on. But for some reason I opened the stew up. I think I wanted to be sure it defrosted, and I went and stuck it in there. So I was stuck then. So I've got the soup in this titanium Titan kettle. I think I've got it on a very low simmer, and I'm moving it all the time, so I think that should be okay. I have had like once cooked porridge in it and it burnt on, so I'm a bit wary if you've got sort of thicker type foods in it. I might add, this roof tile, it is not standard backpacking equipment. I sort of found it outside. It is very useful. I wouldn't mind having it with me, but probably weighs a couple of kilos. Anyway, that is looking very nice. Oh, that is lovely. So, I'll finish this off. I'm going to enjoy it. We'll get the stew on. Basically, warm it up, bring it up to a simmer, and then we can get the dumplings on top. As you can probably hear, it is still raining. So you can see I've got a nice simmer on that stew. Might either turn it down or occasionally take it off because it's going to be simmering for about 15 minutes. So this is the dumpling mix I made. A tora, basically 1 part a tora, 2 parts self-raising. I've had to make use of my Glencairn whisky glass, so we just put a bit of water in. I usually make this in a bowl, but I'm sure this will work. Perhaps a bit more. I don't really want to put my hands in it. Like mixing cement. I'm going to have to. So, they're the dumplings. So you just put them on the stew. So, all we've got to do now is simmer that for probably about 15 minutes and see how they work out. If I think it's drying out, I'm going to take the pot off and let it cool a bit. It'll still be warm, and then put it back on the heat. I shall now tidy this mess up. My hands took a bit of getting clean. As you can see, we've had to crack open the Timothy Taylors. They've had about 10 minutes, but they're looking good. Look at that. They look nice fluffy dumplings. I keep switching the heat off and then putting it back on. But so I'll get the heat back on, give it another 10 minutes or so. Well, the dumplings, I think they've had about 15 minutes now. Yow. Yep, I think we can say they're done. They look nice and fluffy. So, as I've got this lid, I think we'll eat this in a civilised manner. Instead of straight out the bowl or the pan, we'll have it on a plate. It certainly looks warm. I know the stew will be good because I made that in probably October and it was left over from a meal and I just froze it. We'll try the dumpling. That's the sort of food you want on a winter's night. Stew and dumplings. These dumplings will fill me up and I reckon they'll keep me warm all through the night. They certainly taste very filling. I may be some time. I'll finish this lot off. I might have to have a half an hour's little rest and then we'll get on with the steamed puddings. I'll see you in a little bit. I had to have a little lay down after the stew and dumplings. Somewhat filled me up a bit. But I'm rested now. I'm ready for the final course, the dessert or the pudding, whatever you want to call it. So we've got ginger sponge, or it's treacle sponge I think, and some custard. And all I'm going to do with them, I've got a pan of simmering water again, just going to drop them in. I've gone round, punched all holes in them. They're going in. The lid on. So I'm just going to simmer those for about 15 minutes. That's about as low as I can get it. So I will probably keep turning it off and the boiling water will still cook the steamed pudding and warm the custard. That's all it's got to do. So I'll see you in a little bit. Right. I like to think these will be ready. I've had them in there about 15 minutes. sort of had it boiling and then switched it down, then boiling again. So if this drops out, we know it's done. Oh, that looks nice. Ginger, I can smell ginger. And some custard as well. Ooh. Don't make them easy to open. Ooh, plenty of custard. Ugh. So that does look nice. Steamed ginger pudding and a drop of custard. And it also looks very hot. I'm getting my hair wet. Rain is pouring through the door. But this is very nice. Worth the wait. So, I've got a bit of washing up water there. I've got a few pots to clean to get this finished, clear everything up. We've got a long time in here. It's about 7:30, so I'll probably have a little lie down, look at my phone. I'll come back to you in a bit and we'll have a chat about, I don't know, I'll come back about 10 o'clock or something like that. It's plenty of time and I'm not going anywhere. Finally got everything cleared up. Quite a bit washing up to do, but everything's done now. And I must admit, I am feeling full. So I've had plenty to eat and I enjoyed that meal. It was beautiful. And a major part of any Wildcamp for me is the food. And that has been just perfect. Just perfect. I could be anywhere. It's bombing it down with rain. I didn't know it was going to be like this. I've now got heavy rain and light rain right through till tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow isn't too bad. So we might even get to sit outside after breakfast tomorrow. Now I hope 2021 is going to be a better year. You don't have to mention what 2020's been like. It'll go down in history. But 2021 will be a memorable year for me, because in May I am 66, so I become an old age pensioner. In name only, might I add. I can still climb trees. I ain't an old age pensioner, but yeah, officially May 2021 I'm an old age pensioner. I'm entitled to the UK old age pension. If I'd have been born a year earlier, I would have got it last year, but they've raised the age. And I also get a bus pass. So what do you think? Bus journeys round Great Britain? No, perhaps not. Perhaps not. It was only a thought. It was only a thought. But yeah, I will get a bus pass in May. Now I'm pleased to say over Christmas my youngest son took the hint and bought me a nice bottle of whisky. Glenfiddich, 12-year-old. It's a beautiful bottle, triangular in shape, just fits your hand lovely. And if you want to know what Glenfiddich means, it's Valley of the Deer, and you've got the deer emblem there on the bottle. But that whiskey has been around for so long. I can remember in the 1970s, instead of having a Bell's or something like that, you might think, oh yeah, get me a Glenfiddich. And it was available then. Whether it was 12 years, I'm not sure. But we better try it. It's nice golden colour. Difficult to see when you've got a headlamp shining straight in your eyes. And the nose, very fruity. Just a pleasant nose to it. You could imagine this has been going for so long. Everybody likes a wee dram of Glenfiddich. You can sort of taste the fresh fruits, and it is very grainy. But it's just consistent and nice. I would think you could buy a bottle of this in 10 years' time and it will be exactly the same. It is a nice whiskey. It's a sort of whiskey that I would think every lover of whiskey ought to have a bottle of. To me, it's very similar to perhaps Glenmorangie. Perhaps a bit fresher, a bit fruitier than Glenmorangie. But both those whiskies, I think everybody should have a bottle of that if you enjoy drinking whiskey. My favourite is still Aberlour with the sherry cask, matured in sherry cask. That is beautiful. I did put Aberlour or Glenfiddich on my Christmas list, and I got Glenfiddich. I'll have to go and get myself a bottle of Aberlour. But the bottle is nice as well. It's like triangular, which is a bit unusual. So it's just a different bottle, and I like the bottle as well. I mean, this is the 12-year-old. Do a 15 and an 18, possibly a 21, and then it's gone out my price bracket. But the 15 is supposed to be different because those last 3 years they'll mature it in a different cask. But this is a nice run-of-the-mill, honest, consistent whiskey. Now, I know the number one thing in the news is COVID and the vaccinations. I'm pleased to say, due to my senior age, I'm 65, I come in a category where I will get my vaccination. When my wife was looking at a list, she said, oh, you're going to get yours in March. I think it's going to be a little bit later. And then she's a couple of years younger. She then said, oh, I'm not getting mine till May. To which I said, oh, in that case, I might book myself a rail trip to Scotland for an overnighter. She wasn't impressed at all. So I don't think I'll be going on the train for a little while. I might have to wait a little bit longer, I think. Now, January is a time to talk about future plans for the year. It's so difficult. This time of the year, you should be planning holidays. I'd be planning the odd rail trip, future camps, things I want to do. But it is so difficult. I did all this last year and it all got scrubbed. But I'm thinking, So we've done a garden camp January, I reckon February, back in the pub. Got a bit to tell you about music and records. So we'll be in the pub in February. March time, I can't see anything really being relaxed, but if I can get out for a Wildcamp, I will do, or we'll camp in the garden, or we'll go in the pub. We'll get to April, let's say we're in April. I might have had my injection then, but doesn't really mean much, does it? What I would like to get back into is tree camping. 2019 did a tree camp, amazing. 2020 I got a couple planned and COVID scuppered it, but I have been out recently. I've sussed out a few trees, and my main aim for spring is tree camping. It's different and I want to do that, so I'm aiming for April, perhaps May, tree camping. If we can't do tree camping, well, we'll go to the pub. We'll go to the pub instead. There'll be something to talk about. And then we get to May. Now I reckon May, I have a feeling a lot of things will have been sorted. The nicer weather's here. We might have all been vaccinated. So I reckon we all go to the pub, because that will be a time to rejoice. If we don't go to the pub, definitely wild camping. But no, I shall get out wild camping whenever I can. As soon as it's sort of okay to go up onto Houndkirk. I don't see why it is not now, but that is not for me to say. I'm in the garden, I'm complying, I'm camping in the garden. But yeah, as soon as I can get out to wild camp officially, I will get out. But until then, it's in the garden. I'm quite happy to obey the rules. I was quite happy to scrub Christmas and let's get it over and done with. Like, I don't see why you should have had Christmas, but anyway, that's me. But yeah, I think get it all sorted and let's get back to normality as fast as possible. Drinking whiskey to the sound of rain on a tent. Does it really get much better? Does it really? I'm going to have another wee dram. It's only about 11 o'clock, so it's not late. I ain't been getting up for like 10 hours or something. Hang on. 7. No, I won't be getting up for about 8 to 9 hours. So, I'm going to have a very good sleep. Listen to my phone, listen to some music. It should be good. Totally relaxing. Even though the rain is bombing down on the outside of my tent. But nothing interesting is going to happen. But if it did, I'll give you a shout. Otherwise, I'll see you in the morning. Night then. Just beautiful. Can you smell that beautiful bacon? Good morning there. Nothing like the smell of bacon in the morning. Just gonna put these mushrooms in. Well, I had a very comfortable night's sleep. It was so quiet. Normally, if you're up on Kinder or Bleaklow, the wind would be buffeting the tent, and I don't always get that good a night's sleep. But it was so quiet here. I had a fantastic night's sleep. It's about 8:30 now. It was pointless getting up because I wanted the daylight to do a bit of filming him. Let's put a couple of eggs in. Looking forward to this. I've not eaten for 12 hours. But it does smell very nice. So I'm going to finish my breakfast and I'll see you outside for a last word. Very nice at breakfast, very tasty. It's actually a nice morning. I think it's going to be bright blue sky today. I obviously chose the wrong day. But it was still a very enjoyable camp. I enjoyed cooking the food and it was just nice to be out in the tent, using all your gear. Just enjoyable, even though it was just a garden. It has got advantages. I don't have to pack my rucksack. The tent will go straight up into the greenhouse. The sun's on it now, so that should dry that. And the rest of the gear back into the garage and upstairs. So yes, it has its advantages. I don't have to pack all my gear up and carry it home. So, if I can thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Nice to be on a wild camp. And I'll see you soon in the pub, I would think. I would think the next video will be from the pub. So, see you then.